Are you a passionate entrepreneur eager to connect, learn, and grow? Whether you're just starting out or scaling up, the Bold Beginnings Meetup is your chance to fuel your startup spirit. Join us for coffee, inspiring conversations, and networking with like minded change makers. It's the perfect place to turn your passion into action and make bold moves alongside others who share your drive. Are you ready to make your mark? Register now at passionatepulse.com. Limited seats available. Have you got a passion project that lights you up but needs some more insider tips to take it to the next level? Bootstrap Banter is your new go to podcast. We are all about real talks and no fluff. Just actionable advice and inspiring stories from people like you who turn their passion into a thriving projects and then to startups. Whether you're just starting out or already on your way, we have got the strategies to help you push you through the roadblocks. In this series, you will hear real world strategies to grow without burning out or breaking the bank. Honest, no nonsense advices to help you level up your passion project. Whether it's marketing, scaling, or just finding the right directions, we are here to help you thrive. Book your strategy session today. Go to passionatebuzz.com and contact, or just buzz us on WhatsApp or text us on 341 209 0102. That's passionatebuzz.com, one stop shop for your bootstrap banter. Namaskar, welcome to the Passionate Pulse podcast Bootstrap Banter series. In the Bootstrap Banter series, we discusses all the fundas that any passion-led project that can implement to grow that passion project from small project to weekends and nights startup and slowly emerging as encashable business. So let's lean on to this Bootstrap Banter series, and today we are going to discuss for those who do not have the business blueprint with them and want to know how to create a business blueprint through which they can thrive with their own passion led projects. If you bring a wonderful structure to your passion led projects, I'm 100% sure that you will lead that passion led project to soon coming up or emerging startup or to the small business. So let's dive into more with the blueprint. First of all, let's understand why this business blueprint is even mandatory, even for the passion led projects. You have identified your hobbies, you have identified your passions, and you think that there is a good segment in which, if you work, there is a good product fit that exists. There is a market study that shows that the industry trends are showing that your passion is lying within a space which can be a profitable one. Well, if you haven't gone through that exercises, or if you don't know what it means that I'm talking about, how to do those exercises, do listen to previous episodes of Bootstrap Banter series that talks about how to do your product market fit, how to do the competitive analysis, or even if you're not have done the analysis or figure out on your own which is your passion that can lead further, in the right space, do go to passionatepulse.com, download the ebooks that are available to you, and just start exercising yourself and see whether you have certain space that you want to work out. And now that the Thanksgiving break is coming and little bit, at workplaces also, it's kind of getting little colder or little easy. I think you're going to get more time for yourself to retrospect, to figure out where you want to go next, what you want to do next for your new year, which is the exact passion or the hobby that you want to continue, where you want to pour more attention, where you want to be intentional with in terms of your time. So I think all these things will come in handy if you have done the exercise for yourself and you know where you want to stand next. So if you're not someone who like to brainstorm with others, place a strategy sessions, and want to work with some coaches or someone, maybe these handbooks are something that will self guide you, and I'm very sure that you will come up with certain ideas that will dive you deeper and will get you to the place where you want to head out next. So let's deep dive today on the business canvas. First of all, why the blueprint of business is very essential for the success. It's similar to what you're planning next move in your career. It's similar to what you're planning next move in terms of your family oriented goals, or other personal goals that you're looking forward to dive. For example, in the new year, many of us always have one goal, which is exercising as part of your routine, and it should become your daily habit. But then what we do out of that is defining the goal doesn't get you to any fitness goals, right? Defining the goals can just get you an idea where all you want to work on. And then based on that, you will put a structure. For example, are you a person who is self motivated and can do your own exercise? Maybe it's a gym, maybe it's a yoga session, or maybe it's some other type of exercises such as Pilates, Zumba, whatever that is something that you're keen on? And are you someone who can do it by yourself by looking at some self directional videos? Or are you someone who will, required to have that group motivation where you see other people working towards the same goal, and that is something that keeps you motivated on everyday basis to go and hit that gym, to go and hit the yoga session, or go and hit whichever workout method that works for you. So that is something you'll have to identify. After that, you are also supposed to identify whether the goal that you are looking forward to achieve, is it something that is achievable in a social segment of group exercises, or maybe the self directional videos that you're looking out and working out yourself, or you are at a place where you absolutely need a trainer to handheld your journey and take you to the destination that you're looking forward to achieve. So you have to identify these things based on how ambitious your goal looks like, and at the same time what your budget looks like in order to achieve that goal, and what is an optimistic way to come to the point that can give you direction. So that's where this fitness canvas has come into the picture, right? And that's how you're crafting your time, you're crafting your budget, you're crafting your day, and also crafting a goal that keeps you motivated. Let's say after 3 months of time, this is where I want to hit my fitness goal. Then you will break further down how that monthly structure looks like, how the weekly structure looks like, and how the daily structure looks like in terms of your diet, in terms of your lifestyle, in terms of what things that you would like to avoid. So these are all part of the things that you'll need to consider in order to arrive at your right goal and right destination. So that means you have a direction to head out, you have an anchor to hold on. And since you have defined the exercise goal, since you have defined your fitness metrics to achieve, what will happen is in a daytime, wherever, let's say, you catch hold of your friends after a long time and simply meeting for the coffee, then in a coffee shop you will make very conscious choices in order to have coffee, whether you will go for a black coffee, maybe green tea you will avail, and you will avoid all sort of croissants that are there displayed very well. There are muffins, or there are heavy sandwiches that you can see and opt for. So you will avoid all these choices because you are driven and you're very clear in your mindset that these are the things that are not going to suit my lifestyle for the goal that I'm planning to achieve. This is the same way that the business canvas helps you drive. It avoids all the shiny object syndromes that comes in and day out as one of the passionate or one of the very creative person that you are, or also with social interactions. When you bump into each other and figure out there are many ideas that you can work out, you have ability and a capacity to do so, you will not stray away from your main goal. That's where this business canvas comes into handy and also helps you take your all conversations to even social interaction to even finding out what is your next activity that you should be doing to attain your business planning, to attain your quarterly goals. And this passion led project can become a very serious startup that can actually fetch you tremendous positive impact in your personal, professional, and also financial life. So that's where this business canvas is something that one should absolutely lean on. And it is a first step after you have identified what you're supposed to do. So now the question remains is, how you want to really create your business blueprint. What is that I should be considering? What is that I should be leaning on? So first of all, when you're deriving the business blueprint, the one thing that you should be very aware of is the business canvas or the blueprint that you're looking forward has to have a room that should evolve over the time. It should be adaptable, it should be agile enough to take some different shape and forms as the industry and the market evolves. And that is the room that you have to reserve absolutely 30 to 40% of the agility that business canvas should hold. What it will not change, or what are the fixated elements that you should consider are the key components of your business, which is passion led project that you're looking forward to evolve. First of all, why and where you want to head out, why you want to take this particular mission in your picture, why you want to create this particular vision, what is that this particular passion project is going to bring impact in the social circle, in the community. Because any project that you take or any business you take, unless that is solving some of the problems, then that business has no value. You can keep doing things that are giving joy to you or bringing pleasure to you, but it is not going to lead anywhere unless you know that it is going to change someone's life. This particular key point when I've discussed, I always give one example. Think about vitamins and think about a painkiller. We know that during the winter time, all of us have the D vitamin deficiency. Many times we are not having the nutrient rich food that is, giving us a D vitamin, or we are not taking that conscious decision of having that kind of a food. We're not stepping out because it's a winter season and we're not getting D vitamin naturally that you would otherwise get it when you're stepping out of your home. So, what happens in that case is this time you have to be cautious to take your D vitamin supplements. October, November month, we do start. And then as the day progresses, sometimes we are shaky on the vitamins and then we tend to forget unless you have alarm on the phone and you're very cautious that we have to take a D vitamin. But at the same time, during winter, if you are someone who catches flu or you're someone who catches sinus problems or maybe a cold or a cough, then at that point, you're very sure that you're going to go for the cough syrup or the cough medication or the painkiller that will remove your sinus problems or the painkiller that you would always take if it is, a fever or something that you're suffering with. So, vitamin and painkillers, that is the difference. Painkiller, no matter what, you will take it. Vitamin, no matter what, you might tend to miss out. So, that is the difference between having a profitable business and a fun filled business. Profitable business always solves the pain point that market has, that people have, and that is where this particular mission and vision should play an important role. Is it a problem that you're working have solution that is giving a painkiller to your customers? Then that is a bingo, and that mission you should be driving with. Then the vision comes into the picture, why you are the one who is solving the problem and where you want to head to solve this problem. What are the solutions based on the market analysis that exist? So understand all this audience and a competition that you have to do. Find out the goals and objectives that you will derive it. What are the smart goals or the measurable progress goals that you will take into account to move with your business canvas? So, unless you have 5 year goal, you can't break down to 3 year to 2 year and 1 year goal. And once you have that 1 year goal, you can do your quarterly plannings. So, I think that is a very simple way to look at it, and you know the importance of business canvas. And of course, adding an execution strategy, adding the milestone, the timelines, and the tasks that you will own up, what type of tasks you'll outsource, where you want to do, maybe a freelancing jobs, which are passion-led projects, or maybe you want to hire someone as a part-time. You have to figure out the execution strategy to create and march that quarterly goals or the milestones. And of course, the financial projections is something that you have to figure out. What is your budget to shell out in order to attain certain milestone? And after achieving that milestone, how you are working out for the profitability. Then the risk management is also an integral part of any business canvas. Identify and mitigate the potential issues that you can face. Figure out with the market analysis what are some of the real life examples are telling you where certain businesses thrive, where certain businesses fail, and what are some of the important lessons that you should be taking in order to not to fail in your businesses. There is always a concept that talks about fail fast and move fast, but I always say that you are here not to fail. In the sense, you have to plan in a way that you're not failing. If you fail, then that's another discussions to have, then that's another measurement or course correction that you'll have to take it as an actionable step. So now the question comes, in order to develop your business canvas, what are some of the key elements, or what are some of the key steps that one should take? So there is a good lean canvas template that I have it on my passionatepulse.com website. Download that lean canvas template from passionatepulse.com and see whether that kind of propels you to create your own business canvas in a very efficient way. There are 9 steps of the lean canvas methodology that exist. And if you deep dive on individual points, I think you're going to have amazing business canvas evolving from that. The soft analysis that you can do further out of it, it will, give you an easy progress. So what are these lean canvas components that one has to, talk about? There are 9 components to it. First, as I said, there is no solution exists unless the problem exists. So figure out what is the problem through your passion project you're planning to solve. And just identify just 3 major problem areas in the segment that you're looking forward to, and avoid the vague problems. You're someone techie and looking forward to create an AI based tool, for example. Then, first of all, getting into the AI based tool, finding out what other technologies exist, what kind of APIs I should be consuming, what are the open source platforms that exist that I can avail and make tool work. Figure out the problem that you would like to solve. Is it the problem that exists in the educational sector? Are you someone who have the passion and a hobby, let's say in the creative forms of, you're someone who is into a theater performance. You're someone you are into, creating the DIY project sort of a person. Is there a space? Is there a way that you can build an AI tool to solve certain DIY project problems? Or there is a space where, when you talk about the theater led projects, then is there a space where you can bring in the AI tools to solve certain problems? Let's deep dive the problem of DIY projects and AI tools. How you can imbibe, or how you can come to the intersection of your passion, technology, and giving the solution to the market that really needs. And many of the passionate business owners in the particular industry are not able to solve. So you have the strength of technical ability, or you don't have the technical abilities, but you're someone who can absolutely shell budget on the technical teams to be hired. But you know that DIY projects are booming, and there are ways that people would like to see how these AI tools can give life to a lot of DIY projects, and can also boost the confidence in people who have never worked on any of a DIY projects. Then are you someone who can design the tool, or who can envision the tool that can solve this problem in a way that, after understanding the DIY steps and putting it in a tool, can break down the task, can break down the budgets, can break down the type of time that it will consume for a particular activity? Can you gather that data, aggregate it, and bring a tool out of it to provide the DIY skeleton, DIY AI tools that can bring those projects alive? I mean, I think that's a very fascinating segment. If you have not thought about with emerging technologies, what you can do to your passion projects, then I think we are losing a big business there. So focus on these kind of stuff and figure out what these tools can do to you if they were existing. And if they don't exist, find out what is the market talking about. Are there any other tools that exist? If exist, where are they failing? These are the problems that you have to focus, and this is where you should be churning your head. If you're not a technical solutionist and you think that you cannot figure out how to get this done, or even envision that such tool can exist, then take an inspiration. Like, there are a lot of online platforms now have come with the 3D view. And even like, when you're buying any online furniture, that can give you a 3D view, and even in the real time you can vision how this furniture fits in your room, how does it look. There are other softwares that even can give you the blueprint. If you pick and pull those furniture pieces and just take a picture of your home and then play around it, you can get amazing view that how the result is going to look out. So that is also a tool, right? So think about these tools, how they have become handy to you, and solve the problem that you would like to solve through your passion in the technology way that is not existing. That's one aspect to it. There are many other aspects. For example, there are certain products that needs to be created or furnished. We'll soon talk about one product that have solved a lot of problems, and how business canvas have helped them out. But what I wanted to essentially mention is the problem that you want to, solve it. Just see what are the inconsistent ways that are there, and how you can bring a consistency to the space that can solve a particular problem. Then after that, define your ideal customer. When you're talking about a DIY project, is your ideal customer looks like who is absolutely looking at certain DIY videos and trying their hands out, or are you looking out the customers who are someone who are very much originative thinking and they can build something on their own, and that's where they need this jigsaw puzzle to be put together. I think that's where the problem heads, and that's where your customer base differs. If you're looking out at DIY projects who are taking the templates and moving it fast, for them you have to bring just a life with the vision, with whatever materials they are trying to put together, how the result is going to look like. That is a different customer segment, and that's a very easy to solve problem. But again, there is still a market that exists, because although you see the DIY videos, you're not going to replicate the exact same thing, right? You're planning to add something different and an extra touch to it. So that exists. The other one is a very big jigsaw puzzle that they are planning to solve together. And can you bring a tool to the life that can help you out? Again, this is an example that I'm discussing. It might be any space that you're looking out. You might be someone who is looking solve problem. You're looking forward to solve the remittance problem. You might be someone who is facing tremendous issue with finding out the freelancers and Upwork and Fiverr type of platforms that are something that you think that are not working out for you, because there is a trust issue in terms of finding the resources. So figure out the problem that you're looking forward to solve, and based on that take some specific focus and deep dive to that issue and see what you can do that does not exist that will solve the problem, and there is a market in place. Of course, you also have to create a market once you have the solution in place. And that's another discussion to take. That's a marketing funda that we're talking. There is one episode out there of the Bootstrap Banter that talks about how marketing can efficiently help you. And in the new years, we will be discussing different marketing strategies that one can avail once your solution is inbuilt. But let's lean on to this lean canvas methodology and figure out how you can, develop your business canvas. So then the customer segment is it's something that you have to envision, and then also figure out what are your secondary users out of it that can, benefit with the problem that you're planning to solve. After that, a very important thing that comes it is the unique value proposition, or Sudarshan Chakra is what I say. Figure out what is your Sudarshan Chakra or USP with the problem that you're planning to solve, and the solution that you're looking to bring. The USP for DIY tools is absolutely that the AI tools doesn't exist. Easy to use is something that can be your USP, or even the problem that people are looking forward to solve, and the tools that are available are not coming in handy to them because of the price point reason, or maybe because of the trials that they're taking are too complex for a simple user to drive that complex solution. So when I think about these kind of tools, right, one tool that comes into my mind, and I think a lot of us are absolutely using it. If not, you should be using it in order to plan your business canvases, or working on this lean methodology, is a Notion. I think that's an amazing project management tool, and that has solved some of the very important problems for solving these inconsistent issues for people who are looking forward to plan. And even the smallest segment of a customer, not the business customers that we're talking about, but an individuals starting from student to professionals can use this tool to get lot of things organized. Even they can do their the family projects planning or family vacations planning, to even lay the passion projects with a very organized way. Lot of YouTubers are using this particular tool. Lot of students are organizing lot of notes there. Even the interviewer, like the people who are looking to emerge and change the jobs, they are also using these tools to plan their days, to plan their tasks, to monitor how they want to create their job portals, and how they want to create the metrics and plans. So for planning, that is solving a problem for an individual user also to business user. And there are different templates that exist. So that is their USP, right? So, and these are such tools that are available to you at a very amazing price point. Most of the versions are free. In free versions, of course, you have limited space to play with. And if you go with the paid versions, you can do much more as a freelancer, as a small scale based companies. So think about such solutions that you can bring in, and those are the USPs that Notion is driving. Well, if you're not using Notion, read to the podcast descriptions if you're tuning from the podcast mediums. And if you're someone who is listening this particular show on the radio, do go to passionatepulse.com and find out the tools and tips that can come handy for you. Download that ebook for yourself and see what are the tools that you can play around when you're developing your passion-led projects. So once you have defined your problem solutions, identify those customers, find out the channels. What are the important channels through which you can reach the customers? This is one of the key point that people fail when they go out and build a solutions. If they have not thought while building this particular solution, then they are missing out on a lot of audience that can give them the feedback on an evolving basis, that can bring them trends, that can drive the customers. So find out what are your channels through which you will campaign your targeted freelancers. Is this a LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok? Or are these the social media email marketing campaigns that you're looking out? Are the partnerships is something that is gonna bring you more customers? Is it just a Google ads that you're gonna work out? And just see those trends that are gonna work and see the channels, identify those channels much before you go into the evolving the solution. These are the ways which you can reach out to the customers even in the stage zero and bring the wait list. Join the customers on your wait list and build your potential beta users, alpha users from this list. So you should be looking out these channels on a very serious note and putting thought behind it. And of course, none of the business exists if there are no revenue streams. If you're someone taking out certain passion projects, maybe it's a time to consider what are certain revenue streams that will bring into the play if you build a solid proof solutions, and what is the type of revenue that you can bring. And again, revenue streams is another discussion to have, but an essential discussion to have. There are many more revenue models that already exist, and you are one of the consumers in a daily life that is, giving revenue to many other companies. Subscription basis, for example, you are paying to Apple Storage, Google Storage every month, small fees, right? That's where you're saving your personal pictures or personal data or documents that should, be referred globally. So, is it a subscription based model that you can avail if you are creating a tool, if you're creating a product, or it is a one time fees? For example, you have a product that can be availed at purchase time, and then once it is bought, it is owner's responsibility. Then that kind of a product is one time product. But you're someone who is building up some online tool, and can you give the lifetime access free to that? There are many products like that. For example, Doodly is one product which is helping you DIY videos, and that is just costing you one lifetime cost, and they're promoting it on a very heavy basis that X amount is something that it will cost, but you can avail that particular product for lifetime basis. I mean, of course, it comes with its own pricing structure of one time fees and then add-ons to add to get the different sort of features. Maybe that's kind of a model that you can establish. Think about the freemium models. I think Notion project management tool is using a freemium model, and in the long term basis, lot of passionate entrepreneurs like you and me are absolutely getting converted to the Notions, the paid versions once their passion projects are growing, because lot of data already exists there, lot of streamlining has happened, and you understand the sort of tools to do it in a very easy to go basis, and you are the someone. So with the freemium model, what happens is you create the consumer base, you create the habit in place, and once that is formed and established, then the people become loyal to you because they know it is easy to use. They are very much habituated, and they don't have to break their habit to learn some different complex project. So that is what the freemium models can do, and I'm absolutely for it. If you're looking forward to build any free revenue stream, think about the freemium model when you are when you are starting out small or when you are starting out new. I mean, of course, the freemium model doesn't fit into the puzzle when you have a product to offer and that has a solid value proposition. But freemium model is something that can give you a positive edge when the market is flooded with certain tools or certain solutions or certain products, and you want to do that. With the freemium model, there is one amazing example that I like to, bring attention to when it comes to the blueprint that has worked immense for the businesses. Think about the Warby Parker. That's an online glasses company. Mind blowing business that it is doing. What they do is, with considering how they are working with the freemium models, what they're doing is they're selling, first of all, online glasses, and they're giving out a customer 5 trials. You know, in general, on a traditional basis, what the glasses business was, you would go to a particular optician's stores, you will go to particular glasses store and try out the pair of glasses that fits you, and then based on that you will order them, or based on that you will get it customized for your number. Warby Parker broke this chain, saved the cost in a way that there is a big story behind that business. If I have to tell you, I will mention it to you. The Warby Parker, what it did is it broke all those fundas. When they saw that e-commerce is booming, a lot of people are anyway shopping online, starting from clothes to furniture to books to daily usage products, you know. Then it is a time also that the wearables such as glasses can go online and sold amazingly. They studied amazing business behind the glasses. So Warby Parker, how did it come to the life? When 4 friends, Neil, Dave, Andy, and Jeff, who were in the Wharton Business Schools, and when they were, sitting in the computer lab and discussing about the next business to take place, they understood that the glasses are something that is costing them more. Two of them were using glasses at that time, and they were talking about this business, that the eyeglass industry is big, but they are very expensive. And then the Eureka moment reached to their life when they, further investigated, and when the Dave came with the description that, the same company which owned the Lens Crafters and Pearly versions, Ray-Ban and Oakley. The license for the Chanel and Prada also came from the same glass company who is designing it. They were just labeling it differently. Certain designs were, played to only different tier of customers, and they were adding 10 to 15% more on top of it when they were getting sold by particular brands, for example, Oakley, LensCrafters, Chanel, or Prada. So that's where they understood that this is a business model that has to be broken. And that's where they decided to design their own glasses and build a brand around it, build a loyalty brand around it. They went very massive in order to create designs that have been, fantastic. And at the same time, the freemium model, the revenue model that we discussed, that is what they avail. The 5 glasses can be tried out free, and amazing designs in terms of the fashion oriented customer, at the same time who values, who are ready to shell out amazing budget for the particular fashion, who are anyway spending more for the particular designer pair of glasses. And now they were getting designer pair of glasses for 15 to 20% less cost than the other companies would have sold them. And on top of it, they would get a chance to try 5 pair of glasses. So I think that's amazing freemium model that somebody who has got a product to sell can avail. These are the type of ways that you have to study the revenue streams. And this is where can, give you a boost of, bringing and generating a revenue. Charging freelancer a small fee per transaction versus giving the freemium model and then seeing what works. For example, when you are giving out a product that you have built, which is a physical product that particular user is using, can you add a small shipping fee for trying out free and then give them number of chances, and after certain time, like, see how that transaction works. Bringing a brand, creating the brand, creating the right price point, in order to generate the revenue, and creating the habit to your customers. These three things give you amazing revenue. So think about all the channels where the businesses are failing. Many a times, what happens is, if you are someone who is focused on building a solution and not focused on creating the brand around it, creating the marketing around it, creating easy experience to the customer, then you are someone who is failing 5 times more than someone who has an average product but has gained all the different sides that you have not focused on. So that's where this revenue tree, the lean canvas structure comes into the picture. And this is something that you have to think prior when you are trying to build your passion led solutions or passion led projects. The cost structure is what can give you a difference and can also bring you a clarity where you are heading with what you are building. And of course, whenever you are building any project, whenever you are building any solutions, you have to have key metrics in place. Unless you don't know where you want to move with the progress on a daily basis, you cannot track the number of activities that you would end up doing, which are in the right direction or the wrong direction. So, have these smart goals in place that can drive your key metrics in terms of building the products, in terms of selling the product, in terms of generating the revenue, or in terms of the scaling far ahead. And one of the very key recipe to building your passion led projects is figuring out what is your unfair advantage. This should be a part of your lean canvas. So think about what you're building. What is the unfair advantage that you will have in the market when you're building out the product, when you are bringing investments to your product, when you are asking money from your family, friends, your angel investors, or anyone? What is that unfair advantage that you have when you are entering the particular problem space and building the solution? Are you someone who is already an industry expert who is building the solution to the problem that exists? Do you have the educational background? Have you have an experience? Or are you someone who has learned certain skills out of trial and error method, have built certain authority in the particular industry to solve the problem? Or are you someone who is a amazing researcher and figure out some different formula and you have intellectual property such as patents on your name, or you have filed a patent in a particular problem space while you were studying? Or are you someone who is an amazing collaborator and you have a partner in the space which can give you an unfair advantage of building the product, and you're someone who is looking at the other business side? For example, you're a technologist and you are building a solution from a technical point of view, but your partner is someone who is having an amazing experience in terms of the particular market and the industry that you're going ahead, and he is a day in day out authority over there, or has solved a problem in one way or the other, and now he's leaning on to you for the technical help. See what is that marriage looks like with the partnership, and that is an unfair advantage that you both, the duo, as a passionate led entrepreneurs, have it. So think about what is that unfair advantage that you are going to gain once you try to build a solution and try to sell the solution. That is something will give you a USP on your own. Whenever I look at these unfair advantages and the founder stories, there are many things that comes into the picture. If I have to go back to this Warby Parker story and the success, I think Warby Parker did have unfair advantage through Neil's marketing lessons and what he had learned in India with the Vision Spring, which is a non-profit that he was working out, where they were building that infrastructure to sell the eyeglasses. What happened is they had to train the staff which was there in the store under an hour, and also give them the credibility to help other people understand that what the vision number that particular technician or the staff in the store was giving is legit. So what they created was they bring along the credibility and the influencing model. I think we really need to focus on this credibility and bringing influence, and that's where they had an unfair advantage. How did they get the credibility? They gave them the lab coat, they branded it, they gave the ID and a badge and a certificate after training the staff, and they were perceived, that staff was perceived by the people as authority in their field, right? So this was the marketing lessons that Neil had, which was an unfair advantage to Warby Parker's marketing theory that they executed massively. And that's where, a lot of messages they took and they sort of brought that kind of hierarchy to float the messaging around, to create the customers, to build a brand and bring the customers' attention to Warby Parker. And that marketing strategy gave them a very unfair advantage. And this is where I think, one should figure out what is the unfair advantage that they can take based on the strength that they have today, based on the passion that they have, and based on the certain experiences that they can, combine together or aggregate together to call it as an unfair advantage in a way and bring it as their USP also. So I always say, like, whenever we are looking at any business or the passion led projects to grow, think about the positioning your project, and that can become, your unfair advantage. This positioning is something that can bring you customers, that can bring you trust from the customers, and give you a major market share in the space that you're working out. Don't create the confusions, okay? Create the clarity with the positioning. That's what it matters. So if you are someone who is associated with a problem space of DIY, as we were rightly discussing since the beginning, then think about the unfair advantage that you're gonna bring out when you are projecting your daily stories of DIY to the social media and bringing out an influence talking about that this is something you are doing it day in and out, and then after long periods of trials you have achieved the success, and now that you have done so many projects, you have understood the problem that it hits in every project and such tool how it can help you out. So that's the positioning that you are looking out to gain an unfair advantage. There are many other ways to gain an unfair advantage, and we can definitely deep dive on that particular segment if you are looking forward to understand what you can do. But always remember that these unfair advantages can come in any form and shapes, whether it is someone which has built an awesome product and that product is something which is technically sound, industry is something that is looking out easy to use, or that is something a positioning around the marketing around, or the strength that which you are leaning on to solve the problem as a founder story can also become an unfair advantage. So these are some of the key metrics, or the 9-step formula that you can work out to bring your business canvas. And also think about the business canvas as giving you the direction or the anchor to move fast in your business. If you don't have that anchor, then your strategy is to bring that anchor in place. Otherwise you're bound to do many things that are not going to lead anywhere. This is like finding out your Google Maps, or finding out your maps. For example, you set out to drive, you have big direction in place, but unless you don't know the destination, you don't know which route to take. So that's what this business canvas is going to do to you. And think about this 9-step formula that I discussed. There is a template out there on the passionatepulse.com that you can absolutely use it, download that template, and start working on that template and think about your problem solution in a very deep way. Give some good amount of time to create that the lean canvas for yourself, and after that you will be able to create the soft analysis or even the USP analysis with which you should be going forward. And defining your goal for a longer vision, the 5 years down the line, can help you, give you the step, what you should be doing right now to achieve that smallest goal that is aligned to the 5 years down the line goal that you're looking forward to. Again, lean back to some certain examples of your life and see the fashion that where with which you can go ahead and start something on a passive note that will give you an additional edge down the lines. There is always one or the other area where every individual is passionate about. It's just that they are not unlocking that area to themselves because they are not thinking that this is something can give them a passive income, or this is something can give them a particular milestone in their life, in their professional life, that can put them far ahead of the curve that they had thought earlier. What is the life that has not worked enough for their passion? And what is the year end that is not enough to celebrate what they have done there on their own? There is always something that you can find joy about, and there is always something from that joy you can bring some innovation to the life, and that can help many other lives that they are looking forward to. Maybe you are someone who has that passion. Maybe you are someone who has that strain. Maybe you are someone who is made to solve the problem that is not been solved today. You are the one who can create that kind of a magic, All you have to do is just tap into that notion, just tap into that inner strength and see where you can do. All the Bootstrap Banter episodes are there to guide you and can help you, providing you a lot of tools that does not exist today, or a lot of easy tools or the templates that you can take to guide your journey. But make sure you march your journey. Make sure you take that courageous step and find out your own path that otherwise could not have been planned or otherwise could not have been marched. I think you have all the abilities now. You have all the passion led DIY tools nowadays to start that journey, and come out of this the winter led timid life where you are just thinking that you have been stuck, and just get out of that zone, unlock yourself. That stuck position is something that can cause you a lot of depression in the long term. So this is a time, especially in the winter, I would invite you to work on your passion project. Start thinking about it with the right business canvas and the lean methodology that I just explained. Download the templates that are available on the passionatepulse.com, where and you're someone who is looking forward how you can do, what step you can do next, or you don't have the right network to get that motivation to move ahead. We are here with the Bootstrap Banters next upcoming meetup. It is called as the Bold Beginners. Me and my friend Vida, we are emerging with the new company called as Legacy Creators, through which we will be guiding aspiring entrepreneurs, the entrepreneurs segment, with all the good fraternity, with many more workshops, practice sessions, and the practical steps that one can absolutely take in their own niche. The first meetup is happening this Friday. For more details, do check out passionatepulse.com. Register. It's a free network, it's a free meetup event. It's a one of a style. It's a very unique meetup that you will be experiencing. There will be a lot of wonderful activities that will happen. And of course, you will be able to see the other passionate heart who is pursuing their journey, who is looking forward to pursue journey, or there might be some passionate hearts who are looking forward to scale up their journey. See what you can do with this particular event. Do join us if you are in the Silicon Valley. That's a networking event and a very unique style design event. I'm not going to reveal a lot of things right now, but we'll be soon hearing in the next week what happened there and some of the experiences from our own audiences who have visited this networking session. So do log into passionatepulse.com, register for this particular event if you are in the Silicon Valley. Till then, stay tuned, stay passionate, and listen to your passion, what your inner voice is talking about. Work on that, work on that hidden corner that has not got attention yet. And think what you can do. See what you can do next. You do have a power, you do have a passion, you do have a purpose, then that's the ikigai you want to meet. That's the next profession you want to hit. Start your project passively, maybe just on the weekends, just on the nights, but get there. Find yourself and be a different person, or be a light to other people who have not seen that particular light. You have the power. Work on your passion. Stay passionate and stay motivated. Hello, Passionate Pulse listeners. Pradani here, your host. Are you a business owner looking to amplify your brand's reach? Or maybe you know an expert who deserves the mic? This is your moment. Advertise with us or recommend a fascinating guest for our podcast. Dial at 341-209-0102 and let's make your story roar. Passionate Pulse Podcast, where your tales ignite. Call us now at 341-209-0102. Let's champion the spirit of positive change together.